Hi, this is Elliot Haspel and welcome to another edition of Best Practices Weekly. Today we're going to be talking about parental involvement in math lessons, and this comes from an article in Teaching Children Mathematics. And it centers on a new model of engaging parents really deeply when you're teaching math to their students in ways that might surprise you. So, this centers on a program called the Math and Parents Partners program. And this is developed through the University of Arizona with funding from the National Science Foundation, and it's currently a sort of a full-scale program that's active in 6 different states, but this isn't just something about the program itself. There are aspects of this program that you can easily adopt into your own particular school context. And these programs work for students of all sort of demographics. In fact, the particular program highlighted in the article worked with parents and students from a diverse low-income elementary school and had some pretty impressive results, which I'll talk about later. So, the core of this program is this idea of doing mini courses after school for parents and students to learn math together. And so this is 2-hour chunks in the evenings, usually starting around 5:30 or 6, hosted at school. And here you can see these mini courses engage parents in doing mathematics using hand-on materials, working in small groups to solve problems, and presenting their solutions to the whole group. Much like what you would do with your students, except you've got the parents and the students working together, learning the math that you would just be teaching to the students otherwise. And these mini courses range on topics from thinking in patterns, geometry for parents, things about number sense, all sort of the major buckets of standards that you would need to teach, and then 8 weeks about one of those topics. And so, to give an example that they talk about in the article, about week 7 of the thinking about numbers is talking about fractions and decimals and percentages. And they had the parents and the teachers and the students all gather in the auditorium. And these were students in 4th grade and up. And this was a lesson just like you would give a lesson to your students. You're asking parents to draw real-life connections about when are you going to use decimals. There are manipulatives, there are tiles, base 10 blocks, grids, here are practice problems, here are word problems, we're going to do some, I do, we do, you do, all of this. And then a couple of setup notes here to make sure that this was successful. While the students who were grades 4 and up were actually doing the math work, other teachers, volunteers, were doing games and other activities for the younger children, keeping them engaged. There was food and drink provided to everyone, and also parents and kids were given take-home materials, games, things that they can do to continue practicing these math concepts about fractions, decimals, and percentages at home. So those are some elements that make it really successful, having food, making sure that there's childcare available for if there are younger kids in the family, or things for them to do, things like that. And benefits of this mini course were quite a few. One is an increased content knowledge for parents and for teachers. So parents got to know the math better because, let's be honest, some of these sort of math concepts are a little bit, if we haven't thought about them for a while as a parent, or if as a parent we were, struggled in school ourselves, then there certainly could be helpful to know more about decimals and fractions in this case, or know more about geometry, any of these math concepts. To actually understand them as parents makes you much more able to actually work with your students on them. And so this also actually was found to increase the content knowledge for teachers. It was like a professional development because having to teach these math concepts to adults versus teaching them to, a 4th grader is a very different kind of work, and you have to actually think about how to put things into terms that adults are going to understand. So that actually forced the teachers to really deeply understand the math concepts themselves. So it was a professional development opportunity. This was a bridge to continuing education, and an improved attitude towards math for parents. This brought parents back into the fold of school, and school is not just something that their kids were going to and then bringing stuff home from. The parents were invited in, especially around math, which is something that, especially for low-income parents, and many of them may have struggled with themselves. This is another way of them saying, okay, math is valuable, math is something that I'm capable of, really improved their attitudes towards it. These mini courses provided behavioral models for parents in terms of how they should be working with their students at home. They could see what kind of questions is the teacher asking the student? What kind of ways are they working with the student when the student's confused or is getting the wrong answer? In a way, you're almost teaching the parents how to be better teachers themselves of their students at home. This showed increased use of manipulatives and an ability to utilize them in helping students on the part of the parents. So parents were, instead of just working with students with pencil and paper, now we're able to say, okay, like I can use tiles to help my student understand this concept. I can use base 10 blocks, and again, these were actually provided to the parents. Here are some, paper base 10 blocks. Here are some paper tiles so that they could use them at home. There were really strengthened relationships as a result of this, both the parent-student relationship and the parent-teacher relationship. Parents' attitude towards school improved because they were seen as being brought in as true partners here. And then there was significantly improved student achievement in math, and also student motivation and confidence in math, because students were able to see, okay, this is something I can do, and I can do it with my parents, and my parents are invested, the parents are involved, and so it really just had a lot of these positive externalities, these positive benefits beyond just even learning the math itself. So, again, you can learn a lot more about this program. The website is here, and you can also find this on the full article write-up. But I would encourage you, even if you're not going to bring the entire curriculum to your school, to think about ways you can adapt this idea of bringing parents in and teaching them alongside their students as a technique for both improving the math achievement of your students, but also improving the relationship with your parents and improving the parental involvement in their child's education. So, thanks for watching and happy teaching.